Court sentences Uduak Akpan to death by hanging for killing Inyobong Umoren. APC unveils Lalong as presidential campaign DG, Keyamo as spokesperson. Federal government gets $134 million AFDB loan, targets $35 million export gains. And on the foreign scene, Thai nightclub fire outbreaks kill 13 people, injures 35. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. Justice Basi Nkanang of the Akwa Ibom State High Court on Thursday sentenced Uduak Akpan to death by hanging for the murder of Inyobong Umoren. Umoren, a graduate of Philosophy, University of Uyo, was killed on April 2021. She was job hunting while awaiting mobilization for the compulsory National Youth Service Corps scheme. Uduak's father, Frank Akpan, and his sister, Anwam Basi, who are the second and third accused, have been discharged and acquitted. Meanwhile, former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu will remain in prison until October 31st as his organ harvesting case has been adjourned again. Ekweremadu appeared in court on Thursday anticipating ruling on his bail application, but the judge adjourned the case till the end of October for hearing. Can be recalled that the Nigerian senator first appeared before the Uxbridge Magistrate Court in London, where the lawmaker denied all charges against him. Ekweremadu and his wife were initially denied bail and remanded in custody, while the case was adjourned to July 7th and later August 4th. However, on July 2nd, his wife Beatrice was granted bail under strict conditions. Ekweremadu put in a request for a new counsel on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Adamu Bulkachua, Senate Committee Chairman on Foreign Affairs, was in court to show support for Ekweremadu. The court allowed only 20 people to witness proceedings, and all recording devices were not allowed into the courtroom. The remains of 3 persons killed in Katsina State on Wednesday evening by suspected terrorists have been laid to rest. The deceased were attacked and killed at Lansoni village of Batagarawa local government area of Katsina State. Abdullahi Yamadi has an update on the attack and now reports.
All the 3 victims of Wednesday's attack in Katsina, Abdurrashid Abamana, Najib Tambaba, and Isiaku Isa Dansauni have been laid to rest. May his soul rest in peace. But Abdurrashid is my younger brother. He was from Kewa Primary School, where he was a classroom teacher. He was shot dead by suspected bandits because he resisted attempt to be abducted by the terrorists. A huge number of mourners have been trooping to the residences of the deceased to commiserate with them. This is the 3rd time my elder brother was attacked. Last year he was attacked twice at Lansoni village. They now attempted to abduct him, but he refused to cooperate. That is why they killed him. Sadly, a large number of people, including women and children who were abducted by the terrorists during the attack, remain in captivity. The terrorists have already started contacting families of the abductees, demanding for ransom. People here are worried that the terrorists were bold enough to launch an attack in a broad daylight. Even worse is that their locations were considered so close to the ancient city of Katsina, and yet the terrorists were not repelled by security operatives. We are seriously worried by the spread of insecurity. Look at it. The terrorists are advancing towards the city of Katsina. From this point, it's just a kilometer to Katsina city, but yet terrorists attacked this place in a broad daylight. Hundreds of people have fled Babaruga, Dansauni, and other neighboring villages to Katsina for the fear of another attack. Observers say it looks like security operatives are overwhelmed by incessant terrorist attacks in Katsina. Only recently, a police officer attached to Safana Division was abducted in Duzima, while another police officer just regained his freedom after paying 1 million naira as ransom. Also Wednesday night, the terrorists riding on over 30 motorcycles attacked Natsinta village and abducted over 12 people. Natsinta village is not more than 500 meters away from 35 Battalion of the Nigerian Army Natsinta Barracks, Katsina. Many people are losing hope in government's capacity to protect them from the terrorist attacks. Several calls and text messages put through to Public Relations Officer Katsina State Command SP Gambo Isa were not responded to. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Post Television News, Katsina.
And to politics now, where the All Progressive Congress, APC, on Thursday unveiled Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State and Chairman of the Northern Governors Forum as the Director General of the party's presidential campaign organization. APC National Chairman Senator Abdullahi Adamu announced this while speaking with journalists at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The National Chairman led the presidential candidate Bola Tinubu and Vice Presidential candidate Kashim Shettima to a meeting with the President in his office. Adamu equally unveiled former Minister of State for Labour and Productivity Festus Keyamo as the interim spokesperson of the campaign organization, while the deputy spokesperson is Hannatu Musa. According to him, the meeting was to brief the President and get his approval on the plans of the party regarding the campaign outfits and organogram. Meanwhile, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State met in Abuja on Thursday at the house of Professor Jerry Gana. The politicians agreed to set aside their differences and work together. They also agreed to set up a committee to look into areas where the camps of Wike and Atiku can work together. The committee will then report to the panel set up by the Board of Trustees to resolve the crisis. Wike had avoided commenting about Atiku publicly until the presidential candidate granted an interview where he spoke about him in an Arise TV interview. Atiku had defeated Wike in the party's primary election, but the Rivers State governor indicated interest in being the presidential running mate, but the former vice president settled for Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State. Meanwhile, still sticking with politics, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has appointed Daniel Bwala and Senator Dino Melaye as his campaign spokespersons. While Melaye was defeated in the last PDP senatorial primary election for Kogi West Senatorial District, Bwala, who dumped the ruling All Progressives Congress for the PDP a few weeks ago, was a legal aid to the Deputy Senate President, Ovie Omo Agege. A statement released on Thursday by the media advisor to Atiku, Paul Ibe, said the two appointments will take immediate effect. The Kaduna State University chapter of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has rejected the resumption of academic activities in the institution. The union says no examination is taking place, contrary to management's earlier announcement that students have already resumed writing examinations. The report.
Academic activities at the Kaduna State University has paralyzed for months due to the lingering ASU strike. Earlier this week, the management of Kaduna State University announced the resumption of academic activities in the school for the students to write their exams.
You can go around and see if it were ghosts that are invigilating the exams. The academic staff, you can interview them. The truth of the matter is that we have gotten about 80% support. If you had come here yesterday, you will have seen letters of lecturers who have resigned from the union. They said they are no longer members of the union. They are tired of the inconsistent behavior of the union, because the local issues that they're supposed to table before government, they have not done that.
During a media chat, the visitor of the university and Kaduna State Governor Nasiru El-Rufai threatened to sack ASU members if they refuse to resume academic activities. Dr. Peter Adamu is the ASU chairman at Kaduna State University, and he says the strike is still ongoing as none of their members supervised the examination the school management said is ongoing, adding that they are not afraid of the sack threats.
This thing is actually negotiated for everybody, because at the moment, I can tell you that this strike that we are in right now is for the benefit of this same university. Because after this strike, I'm sure this university will get a lot of money, and projects will be placed everywhere in this university. So while someone say that it's a large strike, when they are also direct beneficiaries. Actually, we are not bothered, because we know we are in a democratic setting where we are being governed under rules and regulations. There are procedures. So we're not worried, because we know even if that will happen, there must be some procedures that must be followed.
Few students are back in the school. However, no academic activity is taking place. Some of the students expressed dismay over the lingering situation in the university.
When we got the information that we should resume back school and just come and write exams, we were not really happy about it, because especially students in 400 level, you've not finished most of your syllabus and then they will just call you a graduate. So the whole thing is not making sense, whereby you just graduate halfway.
Actually, us, the student of Kaduna State University, we feel very bad about the resumption, because the management told us to resume school, and we resume school and there's nothing going on. Actually, they fixed exam for us and we are not writing it.
Will the members of ASU resume to avoid the sack by the Visitor of University and Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai? Time will provide the answer.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. And still to come on the news, Gishiri residents demand access road healthcare facilities. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now, a recap of our top stories. Court sentences Uduak Akpan to death by hanging for killing Inyobong Umoren. And APC unveils Lalong as presidential campaign DG, Keamo as spokesperson. And moving on to other news now, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, on Thursday asked Google to block terrorist organizations from YouTube. He made the request when a team from Google visited him in Abuja. Mohammed, who noted that Google is a platform of choice for IPOB, a proscribed terrorist group, implored the tech giant to deny IPOB the use of its platform for its acts of violence and destabilization. He said Nigerians are among the most vibrant social media users in the world, with over 100 million internet users in the country, and that internet platforms such as Google, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and WhatsApp enable Nigerians to interact, share ideas, earn a living, and participate in social and political affairs. In his remarks, Google Regional Director, Sub-Saharan Africa, Government Affairs and Public Policy, Charles Murito, said the platform has introduced a program called Trusted Flaggers for citizens trained to track and engage with online content in order to flag contents of serious concern. Now, one of the freed victims of the Kaduna-Abuja train attack said dialogue between abductors of the train passengers and the federal government will go a long way in securing the release of the remaining victims still in captivity. The released victim made this known during an interview with Trust TV in Kaduna while narrating his ordeal in the hands of the kidnappers.
Not knowing exactly what will happen every moment is our fear, because we are afraid. Anything can happen anytime by anybody. So that is our fear. So I am calling on the government, I'm pleading to come to the aid of our brothers that are over there so that they can gain their freedom. Dialogue, in my religion, Islam, dialogue is still the best option to get our brothers back home. I'm pleading to the government, despite the fact they've taken a position they should please listen to our yearning. We left our brothers there. I'm back home, but I'm not sleeping.
Now, residents of Gishiri community, a suburb located around Katampe district within the Federal Capital Territory, have decried the non-availability of some social amenities and deteriorating state of some existing ones. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu, who visited the community, which is home to people from over 30 ethnic groups in the country, reports that the residents are asking the government to provide basic health facilities, accessible roads, schools and security to enhance their living conditions. The report.
Tucked within the Abuja Municipal Area Council is Gishiri community. Despite its proximity to the city center, the community lacks accessible roads and other necessities of life. Members of the community have taken it upon themselves to provide some of these necessities due to continuous government neglect.
3 years, we will go and mark. When we write a letter, go and mark. So we try do our roads to now, and not do them. So school here, and not do. So we write them through a mark. Now, and not do them. So now children is go meet my here. No Sunday school here, but pro school day.
We don't have junior secondary school and senior secondary school. We will be trekking to school and the road is not good.
Our road here, just where you were coming, you see how the road is very bad.
Although the community has constructed a primary healthcare facility, residents worry that the lives of people, especially women and children, who patronize it are not safe because it's below standard. Beyond the obvious deficiencies in the health facility, Gishiri community also battles environmental pollution, especially during the rainy season.
Sometimes people will sick. There's no standard hospital. There will be rushing emergency to like Maitama, go to Use. Sometimes they will not see the doctor to attend to them.
The primary health care, though we have one, but the one we are having there is just like a room that they are managing.
The primary health care we have is too small for the community. Like the primary health care, if 5 people are sick, there's no anyhow 5 people can be there because it's very small.
They are also not spared of the menace of insecurity, as the unholy activities of miscreants now constitute a threat to residents.
These are scavengers. They call them Babambola. Something around 6 something in the morning like this, one person don't take what you want to take. Your house direct, they'll come and knock your house. If you leave something outside, they will carry it and go. And they always tear people's house to enter, carry what they want. Sometimes they come with knife. If they overpower, you have nothing to do.
Before you know, they will enter our houses, even though you have pots that you cook. You wake up the next morning, they have already packed everything.
Calls continue to inundate the Federal Capital Territory Administration through the Abuja Municipal Area Council office to take into cognizance the lack of basic amenities that are necessities for human existence.
We want government to help us for the security.
Sensitization so that people will come and sensitize people on how to keep their environment clean.
Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And over 560,000 kilograms of assorted drugs were on Thursday set ablaze by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, the largest to be destroyed in the 32-year history of the agency. Leading top officials of the NDLEA and other security agencies and members of the public in burning the heaps of illicit drugs, Chairman and Chief Executive of the agency, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, said exercise is a strong message to drug barons and cartels that they'll continue to lose their huge investments in the criminal trade if they fail to back out and look for legitimate businesses. The report.
The over 5,600 illicit drug burnt at a brief ceremony in Badagry area of Lagos include cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and ephedrine. Others are cannabis sativa, cat, tramadol, benylin with codeine, which were seized by the Murtala Muhammed International Airport Command, Lagos State, and the Semi-Special Area Command. Speaking at the ceremony, General Muhammad Buba Marwa said efforts by men of the agency not only resulted in the seizure of the aforementioned drugs, but also culminated in the arrest, prosecution, and conviction of the offenders in court. Marwa explained that since January 2021, the agency has arrested over 17,647 drug offenders, of which 2,385 have been convicted in court.
Since January last year, we have arrested over 17,000 drug offenders, of which 2,369 have been convicted. In the process, we have seized over 3.5 million kilograms of assorted drugs.
The NDLEA boss, who assured that the agency will not only focus on drug supply reduction, also noted that they are reaching out to young people through prevention messages on social media platforms. He added that they are working with other institutions to provide educational opportunities, vocational skills training, and other socio-economic support for this vulnerable group. While commending the officers and men of the agency for their commitment that has made it possible for the current success, General Marwa praised President Muhammadu Buhari for his political will in tackling the drug menace.
To address the drug problem in the country, and there is no better time than now to adopt evidence-based programs and policies to counter the destructive impact of the drug scourge which has pervaded our society the past few years.
The NDLEA boss had earlier led his top officials on a courtesy visit to the Akran of Badagry, Oba Claudius Dosa Akran, whom he employed to set up drug control committee in his kingdom as part of efforts to support the war against drug abuse in the country.
President Muhammadu Buhari says the rapid integration of solar power into the country's energy mix will lead to an increase in electricity access to underserved and unserved communities. To this end, Nigeria has secured a $1.5 billion loan from the U.S. Exim Bank to deliver solar power infrastructure in 10 different locations in the country. The president has promised that the federal government will remain committed to collaborating with the private sector in improving energy access, creating jobs and industrial development. In a related development, Africa Development Bank, AFDB, has approved $134 million facility to scale up food production in Nigeria. The AFDB loan facility will be used to fund part of the implementation of the National Strategy for Wheat Self-Sufficiency. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Mohammed Mahmoud explained that the initiative will intensify wheat production in 14 states with an expected output of 750,000 metric tons of wheat.
Allow the state to even express interest. No one is shoving anything down somebody's throat. Are you interested in NLTP? Are you interested in LPRES? Are you interested in this wheat production, in this, in that? You are interested? Yes, okay. If it's a situation where the federal government will fund 60%, 80%, you provide 20%. We do that, and we have a lot of those.
The Wuse Zone 4 Association of Bureau de Change Operators in Nigeria, ABCON, has expressed dissatisfaction with the Central Bank of Nigeria policy of restricting the supply of dollars to BDC operators. The Financial Secretary of the association, Yusuf Sadiq, explained that the action by the CBN is one of the reasons that the exchange rate of the naira to the dollar is on a steady fall. Sadiq commended the EFCC's decision to raid the market, noting that even before the EFCC intervention, the leadership of the association has been trying to curtail the rate at which the naira falls to the dollar.
If it will control itself, will not try to go against CBN's rule. But CBN now stopped giving the BDC dollar. Now it is the BDC now will now source their dollar to sell to their customers. The customer will bring their dollar from where they get from and bring it to the BDC operators to sell. CBN cannot control BDC operators. How much are you selling dollar? How much are you buying dollar? Before coming of EFCC, we the market officials, we have started the operation before the coming of EFCC. And the coming of EFCC is very, very much, we like their coming. Because it is we that will control the market. If the market is going high, what makes it to go high? What's demand is in the market that is dollar.
And on the foreign scene, at least 13 people were killed and 35 injured when a fire broke out at a nightclub in Thailand's eastern Chonburi province early on Friday, a police official has said. The cause of the fire is still unknown, and all victims so far have been identified as Thai nationals. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.